Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be with all of you, and I see actually a handful of Long Beach friends, so it's always good to be anywhere with all my Long Beach folks. So thank you all for being here. I want to say a few things. First, I want to obviously say thank you to the Institute. As an educator myself and someone that was really brought in through the Cal State system and believes in the power of the public university and the importance of academics and faculty to engage students and industry and anyone interested in these kinds of discussions. It's just an honor to be part of that conversation. It's always important to have our public institutions be an important voice when it comes to policy decisions happening up and down the state and really across the country. So I want to thank you all for being engaged. It's a point of pride that the Institute is also a part of the Cal State system, which for a lot of people that don't know, is not just the largest public university system in California, it is the largest public university system in the entire United States and one of the largest in the world. And that's something that I think, I know Cal State LA, certainly my colleagues at Cal State Long Beach, and other universities across the state and the country are very, very proud of. And so congratulations for participating in that. Obviously, to all of the affiliate groups that are involved, all of the board members, thank you for being here and for your interest in these important topics. We all know that the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles are vital, not just to the region, but really to the entire country and the health of the entire country. I know that you had Mayor Garcia here earlier this morning, and as my introduction alluded to, he's doing a great job as mayor of Los Angeles. We were both friends prior to our times as mayor when we were both serving on our respective councils. And in fact, when I was serving as vice mayor, he was serving as president of the Los Angeles City Council, which is a very similar role in our respective cities. So we got to know each other in that regard. And then he ran for mayor, and I supported him and was excited about his win, and vice versa. So it's great to be able to serve with him, and he's a great leader for the region as well. I wanted to mention just a few things and then take a couple questions. The first thing, which I'm sure has been mentioned throughout the day, is the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles have really entered an unprecedented era of cooperation. We are working today more closely than we probably ever have in decades. And that's because we have great leadership through our respective boards, and some of our board members are here. I see Commissioner Drummond here, and there may be a few others I haven't seen here yet. But also because there's two great chief executives on each side from very different industries, but great experience that are also working together. On the LA side, you have Gene Soroka, who comes from the shipping industry, the maritime world, a great experience in that area. And then you have, on the Long Beach side, someone we're very proud of, who comes from the transportation and logistics world, comes from understanding how trucks and logistics move cargo and goods across the country, and that's John Slangerup. And so we're very proud of both of these men as they work together. These relationships that have been built through mayors and through both of the chief executives are really forging a new partnership as we really work to support one major complex, but also serve as two competitive pieces within that complex. What are we working on together? And you've probably heard some of this today. You know that both ports are engaged for the first time in looking at system chain operations when it comes to the whole movement of goods throughout the system. We had to go, in fact, and get permission from the feds, from the national commission that oversees this, to get permission for these two ports to actually work together on this issue. So we're looking at the supply chain all throughout the process, and both ports are engaged in how we make that supply chain increase velocity to save everyone both time and, of course, resources. Both ports are also looking at security and how we work together to improve security and ways that we can help each other in that security picture, because we obviously know that these two complexes are critically important to the health of the economy and obviously are an important part of our larger security picture. Both ports are actively engaged in the challenges within the trucking industry. You probably know I see friends here that are here both from the labor side as well as the industry side. And as you've probably heard or will hear, the trucking industry right now is in a state of great challenge and change. There is great demand on a lot of the small firms as well as consolidation happening. There are important there's important process that's going through the legal system right now that is setting a new standard for a variety of types of trucking. There's union issues and union concerns are happening at both of the ports. And so trucking is going through an incredible change at the ports, and both the Mayor Garcia and I are in constant dialogue about that concern. Both ports continue to understand and the need for cooperation when it comes to our workforce, the ILWU and the men and women who work at the docks every single day. As you know, we had a tough negotiation process this last year, but both ports are actively engaged with the leadership of the ILWU, with the PMA, with industry, to ensure that as we go through these next few years where we don't have a contract, that we don't have a contract negotiation, that we're working toward, by the time we get to the next one, hopefully a process that works better for everyone. And we're also looking at ways of increasing trade for the region. Obviously, the Port of Los Angeles is interested in increasing trade and increasing volume through their port. The Port of Long Beach is interested in increasing volume and trade through our port. So there is a competitive nature between the two ports. And in fact, I think a lot of us would argue that having both ports be in a competitive environment is actually good for both ports because we push each other every single day to be better and better. At the same time, we understand that most of the world views our ports as also part of a larger complex. So we are part of a larger complex, even though we're two independent bodies. And so as ports, we continue to share ideas. We're excited about the new era of cooperation, and we know that to meet tomorrow's challenges, particularly with the economy, we'll have to work together more and more. A few things I want to share about the Port of Long Beach, which a lot of you may know already, but I think they're exciting. Right now, the Port of Long Beach has the largest capital program of any port in the United States. We are spending just this year alone over $800 million in capital infrastructure. It is an incredible amount of resources that the port is reinvesting back into industry. I think our most prominent example of that, of course, is we're building a $1.5 billion bridge, which is the new Gerald Desmond Bridge. If you have gone to the Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles, or if you try to go between Long Beach and San Pedro, you've actually driven over two bridges. The bridge on the San Pedro side, which we all know, and of course, the bridge on the Long Beach side, which is the Gerald Desmond Bridge. And that bridge is in major need and has been in major need of replacement. And so working with our federal partners, our state partners in Caltrans, we are literally building what is right now the largest public infrastructure project in the area. And from a bridge point of view, there's nothing like it being built right now in the state of California. And so we're very excited about this project. It's obviously a huge infrastructure challenge, but if you drive on the old bridge right now, you actually are starting to begin to see this new bridge take shape and actually literally come out of the ground, of the water. So it's pretty exciting. The bridge will also have the opportunity it's going to be higher, so we'll have some of the bigger ships will be able to come under the bridge. It's safer, it's wider, provides pedestrian access, and one of the other exciting things is it will actually be lit at night in a very spectacular way. So it's going to be quite an icon for Long Beach and also for the ports as well. And so we're proud of that bridge. We're also excited that Long Beach this year, the end of this year, is going to be opening up the first phase of our Middle Harbor project. If you don't know about Middle Harbor is going to be, for us in Long Beach, the most modern and green terminal that we have as part of all of our terminals. Middle Harbor, if Middle Harbor, that terminal alone with its own port, I believe it'd be the fourth largest port anywhere on the West Coast, or I think possibly even in the country. It's a large large terminal. It is going to be, for us, also the region's first zero emissions terminal, which is a goal of ours at that terminal. And we are excited about the velocity, the technology, and the innovation that this port is really going to, this terminal is really going to exemplify at the Port of Long Beach. We are committed, obviously, to expanding our rail capacity. And then the last thing that's a real focus for Long Beach, which I wanted to share, is we're really focused on technology and innovation. And one of the things that I think is really important is you hear a lot probably in the LA region about tech and tech jobs and what's happening at Silicon Beach and what's happening across the region in technology. And one fact that a lot of folks don't know is in the greater County area of Los Angeles, there are actually more tech and innovation jobs than there are over in the San Francisco, San Jose, Silicon Valley area. The difference is that the density of their jobs are all closer together, and ours are more spread apart. So our jobs are a little bit more all over the place. You know, we're in Santa Monica and Venice and downtown and Long Beach and all throughout the greater county area. But the amount of jobs in technology in that sector is actually more than what's happening up north. So what does that mean for ports? It means that the future of port tech, of the future of technology and innovation at the port is going to happen here. And so our port in Long Beach is really preparing to lead the way and to invest in technology, invest in folks that have ideas that relates to the maritime industry, to water, to energy, to goods movement, and to logistics. If we don't invest as a port in the startups and the technology of tomorrow, no one else is going to step up. And so it's important for us to be huge and active partners in the startups that are happening in and around both of our complexes. And you're going to hear a lot in the next few years about this emerging tech and innovation sector in and around the Port of Long Beach and in and around the Port of Los Angeles. And so that's something to look forward to. I think it's a growth that you're going to see. It's an industry that is catching, I think, a lot of fire and excitement, and we're very proud to be a part of it. I also just, lastly, and I want to open it up for questions, say that one thing that the Port of Long Beach is very committed to, and the Port of Los Angeles is as well, is the new normal when it comes to environmental regulations and standards that make us really the greenest complex anywhere in the United States. That is the future. If we're going to grow and have more cargo come through our ports, and as you see from the numbers for Long Beach, we're having a record year this year. Our numbers and the amount of cargo that we're bringing through is impressive, and it's something that we're very proud of that our port team has been involved with. But if we're going to grow, and it's the commitment that we've made the community, if we're going to continue to see the growth, then we have to, as we do that, continue to reduce emissions, continue to make sure that trucks are clean. We need to continue to ensure that terminals are green and that they are being built and developed in a way that respects the communities that live in and around our ports. And one thing, especially for the students that are here, our ports have not always had the best and most upstanding reputation when it comes to the environment in decades past. They've actually caused a lot of damage to our air, to our water, to the development of our natural resources. But in the last decade or so, I think our ports have really changed. And now they're leading on the environment. They're engaging in the community. They've invested in ensuring that we drop emissions and that we're producing cleaner air and that the trucks are cleaner. And so that's something to be very proud of. It's the future, I think, of the Port of Long Beach. I think it's also the future of the Port of Los Angeles. And I think Mayor Garcia would mention the same thing. And so I just want to thank you all for having me for a few minutes here today. I'm not sure if I went over my time already. I may have. And so thank you all for having me. So if there's a question or two, I'd be happy to answer those. Yes.
Hello, my name is Yosmar Hyman. I go to Cal State Long Beach. Are you guys ever interested in kind of pairing up with Metro with bike share? Because right now we're working on a bike share program, which is a massive program. And what are other projects that you guys are working on? Because right now I'm actually working with Eric Garcetti's people to bring another project, which is EV car sharing. So what are some of the projects that Long Beach is going to bring for pollution?
Well, when it relates to the port of
Yeah.
Long Beach and Long Beach, what's
Right.
interesting is we're actually launching bike share probably in about 60 days. So we've been
Right.
working on it for about a year. But when it relates to the port, a couple interesting facts. The Port of Long Beach has a pretty aggressive bicycle master plan that they're actually building a bike master plan and trail all throughout the Port of Long Beach. So it's actually been planning, it's been in the planning phase for now probably a year and a half or 2 years, and the infrastructure is actually going to be built actually fairly soon in this coming year. And so that infrastructure is being developed at the Port of Long Beach. I mentioned this $1.5 billion bridge. One of the early debates about the bridge was whether or not it would be accessible for pedestrians. And the good news is that it will be. And so this bridge will also have a bicycle and pedestrian pathway that will go over the bridge, and we hope will connect to this bicycle infrastructure that will then be in and around the port and also connecting to San Pedro. And so we're very focused on that. Ports are certainly there to provide economic good, but they're also a public good. And the public has the right to access the ports if we can do it in a way that's safe and that's appropriate. Any
Hello.
other questions?
Yeah. Hi, Mayor Garcia, over here to your left. How
There
you
you
doing?
I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's even worse. Yeah.
So I'm an environmental justice advocate in Long Beach, and environmental justice is really about having a healthy environment for where you work, live, learn, and play. And I want to focus on the work part because that's important to our communities and the workforce. As we move towards a zero-emission port and implementing zero-emission trucks and so forth, it's really important that it's sustainable. And so as we look at the drayage system, what we find is that there's a lot of unrest because of misclassification of drivers. And what that creates is an unsustainable system. It creates pollution. It creates issues in the community. So my question is, what's your commitment and plan to address the prevention of wage theft for port drivers?
That's a good question. I'll just start by saying that there's no question that the trucking community and the industry is going through major change right now, and you're seeing it in consolidation. You're seeing it. There's more companies are actually working with the Teamsters and other groups out there to try to organize certain of the firms. There's a lot of labor unrest, strikes that are happening. So that is happening. I will say that I'm very active in meeting with everyone. I just met with a bunch of truck drivers probably a few weeks ago, and so does my staff. And let me say this, I think you're going to hear Mayor Garcetti maybe 2 or 3 days ago had a pretty long talk about this topic. And without getting too far into this, because I think there's a lot of planning that needs to happen, I think we're very both committed to trying to solve this challenge long term, because we know for the good of the industry, we have a trucking shortage. It's difficult to recruit truck drivers. We know that there are a lot of great and good companies out there, but there's also a lot of companies out there that don't treat the folks that work for them very well. That's just also a fact. And so we have to, I think, do a better job of working with everyone in the industry to create a system that's more fair and that's more equitable. And I think that over the course of these next 6 months, you're going to hear from both Mayor Garcetti and I on this issue and try to bring everyone to the table for some solutions. But I don't have the immediate solution, but I'll tell you that we are actively working on it. And Mayor Garcetti and I literally had our last conversation about this topic probably 3 or 4 days ago.
The irony that I would have the microphone after that question, my God. Weston LeBar, Harbor Trucking Association. I'm going to bite my tongue and not respond to that, but Angelo, please read the studies that have come out. You've done a great job with economic development in the city of Long Beach, and I appreciate that because I voted for you. But can you talk about what you're doing? We have a world-class port, and we want to attract more corporate headquarters to be closer to the port. Can you talk about what Long Beach is doing as a city to attract corporate headquarters to downtown Long Beach, specifically in international trade?
Well, I think, thank you for voting for me, Weston. I think that, and that was pretty ironic, actually. One thing that's unique to Long Beach is, and to ports, since we're talking about ports, is that there are very few ports that actually are located in the heart of their downtown. And so when you look at Long Beach in the heart of our downtown, it's adjacent to the port. A lot of ports, whether it's been San Francisco or San Diego, they have tried to shed their port and create space from their downtown, and in many ways have become smaller or have been less, have had less production. And in Long Beach's case, I think we've embraced the Port of Long Beach, and downtown has grown because of it. So from an economic development point of view, we view the port as an economic driver, not as a detriment to the Port of Long Beach. And so we're actively engaged in trying to bring in businesses and obviously, and we welcome any corporation that wants to open up a headquarters, and we're seeing a lot of interest. And so right now, I mean, in our planning department, like in downtown LA, we have numerous plans and projects that are all going to be developed in the next year or two of new buildings, new housing, new businesses that are moving in. And so what you're going to see in Long Beach in the next 4 or 5 years is a very different skyline. And that skyline is going to be filled with a lot of industry, and I think a lot of folks that are interested in the growth at the ports as well. So I think they were probably telling me my time is probably up. I can absolutely, I'm happy to do one more.
Okay.
Oh, yes, sir.
My name is Carl Porter. I'm representing Roosevelt High School. How are you bringing in students and their planning with the community environment? Do you have a program in play for high school students?
So the answer is yes. And so, in fact, we have a pretty aggressive internship program for high school students within the Port of Long Beach. They receive it's part of a scholarship. They're there, they meet with managers. I actually address all of them, work with them. They get to know the port and the complex in the industry. So we're pretty active in that.
Thank you for that one.
Thank you. Okay. Hey, thank you all very much.